A salesgirl grabbed Anita by the hair and shoved her roughly, making her crash to the floor. Anita yelped in pain and stayed down, covering her face in humiliation. Then, suddenly, strong, familiar arms lifted her up. She looked up and saw Melvin, his jaw tight with fury, eyes dark with unfiltered rage. At first, Anita thought he might be angry at her. Maybe he believed the accusations. But he turned, voice cold and powerful, and roared at the manager. "How dare you?" The manager instantly recognized Melvin. He was not just a VIP customer. He was best friends with the owner, and a known billionaire. Melvin's face was stone. "You think this is how you treat your customers?" The manager stuttered. "Sir, she was." Melvin cut him off with a sharp raise of his hand. Then he pulled out his phone and called the owner directly. "Frank, I'm at your mall and completely disgusted. Your staff just assaulted my wife. I want you to know I'll never step foot in this hellhole again." Within minutes, Frank, the owner himself, came rushing out. "Melvin, I'm so sorry. What happened?" Melvin didn't hesitate. "I brought my wife here to shop. Your manager let some loudmouth insult and manhandle her, and your staff joined in. They called her a thief and shoved her to the ground. Is that how you treat people now?" Frank's face turned pale. The manager and salesgirl stepped back. "I'm so sorry," Frank stammered. "Which of you idiots did this?" The manager tried to explain. "Sir, the lady said she was." Melvin stepped forward and slapped him hard across the face. Everyone in the mall gasped. Pointing at the glamorous woman, Melvin asked coldly, "That one? The bargain bin queen who only shows up when you have clearance sales. You let her humiliate my wife. Do you even know who Anita is?" He turned back to Frank. "I want her banned. And your staff, fired." Frank nodded immediately. "You too." He pointed at the manager and the salesgirl. "You're both fired. And you," he turned to the woman, "are permanently banned from this mall." The woman scoffed and rolled her eyes, but Frank called security, and she stormed out of the mall with her head held high. Outside, she pulled out her phone and angrily dialed a number. "Jasmine," she snapped, "I've never been more humiliated in my life. Why didn't you keep Melvin busy like you promised?" He walked in and called her his wife. "I just got banned because of your lies." "I am so sorry, Beverly," Jasmine said over the phone. "The man I hired to distract Melvin said he hung up on him abruptly. I know the plan was for you to humiliate that cheap Anita and be gone before Melvin arrived, but it didn't work out that way." She paused, then continued coldly, "But don't worry. I've got something else planned tonight. When I'm done, they'll both be so humiliated Melvin won't even want to look at Anita, let alone keep her around. They are already in separate rooms. It's proof my strategy is working. Just be patient. Melvin will be mine again." Beverly sighed bitterly and climbed into her car, driving off. Back inside the mall, the manager and salesgirl stood nervously, trying to apologize. The other staff member who had judged Anita earlier backed away quietly, relieved she hadn't laid a hand on her. Melvin folded his arms. "Don't apologize to me," he said icily. "Apologize to my wife." The manager and salesgirl turned to Anita, who still had tears in her eyes. "Please forgive us. We were wrong." Anita opened her mouth to reply, but Melvin spoke up first. "No. Apology not accepted." He turned to Frank, the mall owner, and said bluntly, "As long as they are still working here, I won't buy a single thing from this place." Frank didn't hesitate. He grabbed both employees by their arms and dragged them to the door. "You're fired," he snapped. "And next time, if either of you ever gets the chance to run your own mall, you can judge customers at first glance." Melvin turned Anita gently to face him. He wiped her tears and said, "Let's get you a few things." Anita was still shaken. Part of her thought there must be a hidden camera somewhere, that Melvin was only being sweet because of some publicity stunt. But as she looked around, she didn't see any photographers, any flashing lights, nothing. Maybe he was just being kind. Melvin walked beside her, helping her pick out dresses, gowns, and accessories while shoppers around them stared in awe and envy. He chose a few clothes for himself, but only Anita went in and out of the dressing room, trying on outfits. Melvin sat comfortably, talking occasionally on the phone, but each time Anita stepped out, he signaled with a nod, a raised eyebrow, or a gentle smile to indicate which outfits looked best on her. His gestures were quiet, but his approval felt thunderous to Anita's heart. After trying on what felt like hundreds of outfits, Anita was exhausted. Melvin bought everything without hesitation, well over 100 designer pieces. He told her to keep aside the dress she wanted to wear to the evening party and arranged for the rest to be delivered to their hotel. As they walked to the car, Anita still searched for any sign that his actions were part of some plan. But there were no paparazzi, no assistants, just Melvin and her. He opened the car door for her, and as she sat down, she felt overwhelmed. Her knees still hurt, but her heart was glowing. Melvin got in and looked over to see her misty-eyed. "Are you in pain?" he asked softly. Anita shook her head. "No, sir." "Then why are you crying?" She hesitated, then said in a quiet voice, "Because no one has ever stood up for me the way you did today. You didn't just protect me, sir, you gave me dignity. I'll never forget that, even after I leave your side." Melvin was quiet for a moment, surprised by the emotion in her voice. Then he said, "To be honest, Anita, I'm not happy with you right now." Her eyes widened. "You shouldn't have let them push you around like that. In the public eye, you're my wife, and you represent me. If someone slaps you, slap them back. If you fall, get up and push back harder. Don't you ever cower again." Anita's breath caught in her throat. "I understand, sir. I won't let it happen again." Melvin nodded. "Good. As long as I'm here, no one will harm you. I'll always take your side." "Thank you," Anita whispered. "Good girl," he said with a small smile, then started the car. All the way back to the hotel, Anita kept stealing glances at him, her heart pounding. She wanted to make him proud. She promised herself that if anything like this ever happened again, she would fight back. When they got to the hotel, Melvin helped her carry the dress she had chosen for the evening. Just before she went into her room, she turned and said, "Thank you, sir, for the clothes." "You're welcome," he replied. "The party starts in 2 hours. Get ready, and I'll come get you. I know you took 2 dresses from the batch. Wear the red one. It suits you more." Anita smiled and nodded. "Okay, sir." She entered her room, gently holding the red gown against her chest, feeling like she was holding a piece of magic. As she got ready for the party, Anita's thoughts drifted back to what had happened earlier at the mall. She still couldn't understand why that woman had looked at her with such disdain and called her a thief or a beggar. Yes, she had been simply dressed, but her outfit was not cheap. Melvin had bought it for her the very first week he brought her into his house. So why? Why was she treated like filth? Even though the incident had shaken her, the memory of Melvin defending her so fiercely warmed her heart. That moment alone made it all worth it. Anita checked her appearance in the mirror and was satisfied. Melvin was right. The red gown looked much better on her than the blue one. She applied red lipstick to match and slipped on a pair of low sandals. It was already dark, and she preferred to stay simple. She had just finished waiting when she heard a knock. She opened the door and her breath caught. Melvin stood there, looking devastatingly handsome in a black suit that shimmered faintly under the lights. He looked like someone out of a fairy tale. "I have a gift for you," he said with a smile, handing her a sleek plastic bag. "Thank you," Anita replied, her voice filled with curiosity. "Just give me 1 minute. I'll drop it off inside." Once inside her room, she opened the box and squealed in delight. It was a brand new phone. Outside the door, Melvin chuckled softly to himself when he heard her excitement. She had wanted a phone so badly, to store pictures and videos of the two of them. Now that she had one, she felt like she'd been handed the moon. She wanted to run out and hug him but held back, afraid she might make him uncomfortable. When she came back out, Melvin said, "My number's already saved on it. Call me if you need anything. The phone's been customized for you, airtime, internet, everything. I've also sent you the hotel's Wi-Fi code so you won't get bored." "Thank you so much, sir," Anita beamed. "You're too kind." As they walked toward the venue, Jasmine stood at the corner of the corridor, watching them with narrowed eyes. "Tonight," she muttered under her breath, "I'll see to it that Anita disgraces you in front of everyone, Melvin." At the party, Anita quickly realized she was bored. She barely spent a minute beside Melvin. He was constantly greeting people and speaking to groups of businessmen. She regretted not bringing her new phone along. She had wanted to be respectful, not distracted, but now she wished she had something to occupy her. There were mostly men at the party, and very few women. The handful of women in her age range were all either busy chatting or networking. Melvin soon went up to the stage to give his speech. Anita sat quietly in the crowd, her eyes fixed on him with admiration. He looked perfect. Even from a distance, she could see the confidence in his posture, the brilliance in his voice. She hadn't had anything to eat or drink, and was beginning to feel lightheaded from hunger and nerves. Just then, a waiter approached her with a tray of drinks. He said, "Please take a drink." "I don't take alcohol," Anita said politely. "This one is a non-alcoholic fruit cocktail," he smiled. "Besides, the boss might be upset if his wife wasn't served." Anita hesitated, then accepted the glass and took a sip. It was sweet and cold, exactly what she needed. She ended up asking for another glass, and the waiter obliged. Meanwhile, Melvin was finishing his speech, receiving loud applause from the guests. Anita clapped louder than anyone, prompting a few people to give her strange looks. Elsewhere in the building, the waiter walked quickly out the service door and made a call. "It is done," he said. "Good job," Jasmine replied. "Leave the hotel now. Your balance will be transferred shortly." Back at the venue, Anita spotted Melvin and began walking toward him. But something felt strange. Her body felt heavier, her thoughts cloudier. She stumbled slightly. People started to stare. Melvin, with his back to her, didn't notice anything yet. Anita reached the stage and grabbed the mic. "Hi, everyone," she said, grinning. Her voice was slightly slurred. "This is Anita." Heads turned. Murmurs rippled through the room. Melvin spun around and froze in shock. "This is a wonderful party," Anita said dreamily. "And my husband is amazing. Do you all want to know something? He bought me." "Yep, you heard right." There were audible gasps. Melvin rushed toward her and yanked the microphone from her hand. She giggled and reached for it again, but he held it high and pulled her away from the stage. Everyone stared at them. Most of the guests didn't even know who she was. Melvin hadn't formally introduced her. The whispers grew louder. Melvin dragged Anita out of the hall, red-faced with embarrassment. His fury boiled as he hauled her to her room. He opened the door, dragged her inside, and pushed her toward the bed. She stumbled, face planting on the sheets, smearing her lipstick across the white fabric. She turned over slowly, hair a mess, eyes unfocused, and stared at him with a lazy smile. "I warned you not to drink in public, Anita," he growled. "How could you humiliate me like that? I'm very disappointed in you." Anita burst into laughter, clearly too tipsy to understand. Melvin turned to storm off but froze when he felt her arms wrap around him from behind. She pressed her cheek to his back. "Please don't be mad at me," she whispered. "I don't like it when you're mad." "Let go," he ordered, prying at her arms. "Anita, let go of me." "No, sir," she said softly. "I'm gonna hold you like this, forever." Melvin stood still for a while, letting Anita hold on to him as tightly as she could. Slowly, his anger began to fade. He sighed and glanced down at her. Her arms were still wrapped around him, her eyes closed. He knew she wasn't in her right frame of mind, but he still said calmly, "I'm angry because you drank alcohol even when I warned you not to. I told you to act like my wife in public, not embarrass me." Anita opened her eyes and looked up at him, shaking her head. "But I didn't take alcohol. I swear. I told the waiter to bring juice and he said that's what he gave me. It tasted sweet, just like juice. I only drank 2 glasses because it tasted really nice. I didn't mean to mess things up. I'm so sorry." Melvin stared at her for a moment. Her big eyes were filled with innocence, her face flushed, and her lips curved into a little pout. Despite his frustration, he couldn't deny that she looked adorable, like a small, helpless child. He sighed again, realizing he needed to return to the party. "Okay, Anita, let go of me now. I have to get back to the event." "No," she whimpered. "I won't let go of you. You're angry. You say you're not, but I can tell. Please don't be angry, please." Tears rolled down her cheeks as she hugged him even tighter, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean to embarrass you. I didn't want to ruin anything. Stop crying, Anita. I said I'm not angry anymore," he said with more softness than before. "It's a lie," she mumbled against his shirt. "You're still mad at me." He groaned in frustration but also with pity, then gave in. "All right, come." He led her to the bed and sat beside her. Her arms remained latched around him as though her life depended on it. He gently stroked her hair and rubbed her back until she finally fell asleep in his arms. Once he was sure she was out cold, Melvin carefully laid her on the bed and stood up, brushing her hair away from her face before quietly leaving the room. Out in the corridor, Melvin's mind returned to what she had said earlier, that she hadn't taken alcohol. He needed answers. He made his way straight to the control room and asked for access to the CCTV footage. Watching the screens, he noticed something strange. The guy who had served Anita wasn't among the waiters he had approved earlier. There were 6 servers, handpicked, and none of them matched the man in the footage. Melvin's brows furrowed as he leaned closer. The guy also vanished immediately after serving Anita. That confirmed it. Anita was telling the truth. This wasn't just an accident. Someone had set her up. But who? Anita didn't know anyone in Paris. Based on everything she'd told him about her past, there didn't seem to be anyone who would do this to her. Unless she had kept something from him? He captured a still of the fake waiter's face and handed it over to one of his managers. "Find out who this guy is. If you need to get the police involved, do it. I want answers." By the time the party wound down, Melvin returned to Anita's suite and peeked inside. She was still sleeping soundly. He quietly locked her door and then went to his own room. When Anita woke up the next morning, everything from the night before came rushing back. Her cheeks burned in shame. She couldn't believe what she had done. Getting drunk, climbing the stage and holding Melvin in front of everyone like a desperate fool. Her heart pounded. What if Melvin was still angry? Would he ever trust her again? Just then, the door opened, and Melvin walked in. Panic gripped her and she ducked under the quilt, covering even her face in embarrassment. He knocked softly on her bedroom door. When there was no answer, he let himself in and found her completely covered, even her head. He chuckled to himself and said, "Wake up, Anita. I know you're pretending." She peeked her face out from under the quilt, voice trembling. "Good morning, sir. I'm really sorry about yesterday." "It's okay," he said. He sat on the bed and showed her the printed photo of the fake waiter. "Is this the guy who served you?" Anita took one look and nodded. "Yes, he's the one. I was sitting on my own when he came to me. I told him I don't take alcohol, and he told me it was just juice. He even said you'd be angry if I didn't accept it. It tasted so sweet. There was no alcohol smell or anything. That's why I took another glass. I didn't think it could be something else." Melvin studied her face and nodded. "I believe you. How are you feeling now? Any dizziness? Pain?" "I'm okay, sir," she said. "Still, I've arranged some medicine for you, just in case whatever was in the drink had something harmful. Because that guy," he paused. "He wasn't one of the waiters. I don't know how he got in, but someone clearly sent him." Anita's eyes widened. "But why? I don't know anyone here. I told you everything about my past. The only person who might know I'm alive is that man who took me to the black market. But he got so much money from you. Why would he want to hurt me? And I don't even know anyone else."